You wake up, grab your phone, and suddenly it's everywhere. Odell Beckham Jr. hasn't just decided not to retire. He's standing his ground, saying he's still ready to play in the NFL. Sounds crazy, right? But it's real. The most surprising part? He went straight to social media to shut down the rumors himself. He made it clear he's not looking to be the main star. He just wants a team where he can play his last chapter the right way. This changes everything, because no one saw this coming, and the clock is already ticking against him. During this offseason, rumors started popping up that Odell Beckham Jr. was hanging up his cleats. A lot of people believed it. Social media blew up, and even friends and acquaintances were sending happy retirement messages. But the truth? None of that was real. Beckham himself had to step in and put an end to the speculation. He was direct. Stop believing everything you read on the internet. His frustration was clear when he admitted he was tired of receiving goodbye messages. He even joked that if people kept it up, he might have to block them. But the message underneath was serious. When the time comes to retire, he'll announce it himself, and that time isn't now. This outburst tells us a lot about Beckham's mindset today. He knows he's no longer at his peak, but he refuses to be treated like someone who's already in the past. There's still pride, still a drive to prove he can compete. Talking about retirement now feels like someone trying to snuff out a fire that's still burning. Of course, Beckham's days as the absolute star behind him, but he doesn't seem ready to quietly bow out. On the contrary, he's determined to have a chance to write the final chapter of his career on his own terms, on the field, not through rumors. And this brings up a crucial question. If it's not time to retire, what exactly is Beckham looking for in the NFL today? His answer surprised many, showing that he's no longer chasing the spotlight of his prime. He's looking for a role that actually makes sense on a competitive team. Today, Beckham speaks with a clarity we haven't seen in years. He knows he's not going to be that number one wide receiver anymore, the one catching 15 passes a game and carrying an offense on his back. That ambition is in the past. Now, what he wants is much simpler. Find a competitive team, get 5 or 6 plays designed for him, and feel the rush of being on the field again. This mindset shows a rare maturity in athletes who've already lived at the top. Beckham understands the NFL cycle, the constant turnover of talent, and he accepts that he won't have the same starring role. But at the same time, he won't give up on his passion. For him, it's not about stats or massive contracts. It's about the experience of playing and contributing. His talk about finishing the legacy is also striking. This isn't just playing for the sake of it. Beckham wants to end his career with dignity, feeling like he gave it everything he had. He won't let his story fade quietly, like just another veteran name that slipped away unnoticed. This desire to craft an ending on his own terms reinforces the idea that Beckham still sees himself as part of the game. Even if he's no longer the star he once was, he believes he can still make an impact. And that brings us to an essential next point. To understand why this fire is still burning, we need to look back at where it all started and how he left his mark in the NFL. When you talk about Beckham, you can't ignore how he exploded onto the scene. In his first years with the Giants, he seemed unstoppable. Jaw-dropping catches, huge numbers, and a personality that grabbed everyone's attention. That one-handed catch instantly became one of the most iconic plays in NFL history. At that moment, it seemed nothing could slow him down. But football is relentless. Injuries started piling up. The instability in New York didn't help, and Beckham could never maintain that dominant pace for long. What began as a path to absolute greatness turned into a career full of highs and lows, never quite achieving the consistency many expected. Even so, Beckham's cultural impact can't be erased. He redefined how people see a wide receiver, blending explosive athleticism, charisma, and media presence in a way few have matched. Even today, his name commands respect because of everything he accomplished in the last decade. And it's that historical weight that fuels his current fight. Beckham knows he can't be that phenomenon again, but he wants to honor the legacy he built by finishing on a high note. This desire becomes even more apparent when you look at his recent stops, where he wasn't the centerpiece but still tried to stay relevant.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself.
In Baltimore in 2023, Beckham already knew he wouldn't be the centerpiece. With Lamar Jackson shining and Zay Flowers emerging as a rising star, he had to accept a secondary role. Still, he managed to flash glimpses of his talent, showing he could still contribute in key moments. His next stop with the Dolphins was a completely different story. That stint ended almost quietly, without big plays to remember. For many, it confirmed that Beckham had become just another veteran trying to hang on, no longer making the impact that once defined his career. These two chapters highlight the transition he's going through. He's no longer the star everyone expects to decide games, but he also refuses to be treated as irrelevant. Beckham exists in this middle ground. Someone who can contribute, but only if the fit is right, or he risks becoming just another big-name veteran on the roster. And it's precisely this challenge of finding space that makes his future so uncertain. Even with the desire, the reality of the NFL is harsh. Teams prioritize youth, speed, and consistency, and those factors weigh heavily against him. Beckham's biggest challenge now is that the market no longer sees him as a priority. He's not an immediate impact addition, and any chance to return depends on taking a smaller role, likely coming off the bench, and seeing limited opportunities. For someone who was once the center of attention, this shift requires humility and patience. Time isn't on his side either. The season is moving forward, rosters are locking in, and every week that passes reduces the chance a team will make space for him. Meanwhile, young talents emerge and more productive veterans continue to get calls, leaving Beckham further down the line. Even with the Ravens, where a spot could have opened, the door closed. The team chose to bring in another high-profile veteran, DeAndre Hopkins, showing that the priority is now on names that still offer more consistency. This move makes it clear Beckham is running out of options in the league. And here's the critical point in his story. On one side, a player insisting it's not time to retire. On the other, an NFL that may have already moved on. Beckham still believes he can write one last chapter, but the big question is, will a team hand in the pen to finish it? Odell Beckham Jr. may no longer be the explosive wide receiver who changed the NFL early in his career, but his firm stance against retirement rumors shows he's not ready to close the book. He's willing to take a smaller role, knows times have changed, but remains determined to write the final chapter of his on-field journey on his own terms. The weight of his legacy, flashes from the past, and the desire to finish on his own schedule keep the spark of a comeback alive. The big question is, will a team make room for Beckham to prove he can still contribute, or will this wait turn into the NFL's final silence? Whatever the outcome, one thing is clear. Odell Beckham Jr.'s name still stirs emotion, memories, and expectations. And maybe that's the strongest sign that his story isn't over yet.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.